All right, here we're with Dolly. This is Dolly, and over there is Peluche. Isn't that a great name? And Peluche just on a walk and agreed to help us. Now, Dolly here is reactive when she's around other dogs. So I've recruited Peluche to help us. Now, when you're doing this, it's best to do a couple things we'll talk about to set your dog up for success. But I like to do this with a person that's working with us, not just some random person you see on the street. Now, we're using a random person we met on the street here, but if you can find somebody who has a dog that you can meet, and this is not the greatest environment, this is outside her home, but you'd want to do this like in a big park or an outdoor area where there's a lot of grass and not so much busyness, because we could have somebody walk by that we don't know, or a dog come up off leash and cause problems. Now, we can do things to make her a little bit, set her up for success. Exercising your dog before you do an exercise like this can help. So there's a Goldilocks amount of exercise. You don't want to do too much and have the dog too spent, because they're gonna be crabby, and if it's not enough, it's not gonna be beneficial. Now for her, she gets very excited when her guardian puts this harness on her, because usually this means she gets a very long lead and they go to a special Will Rogers or wherever and she gets to run around. So what I would have you do is practice putting this leash on her, or this harness on her, multiple times a day without going for a walk. Now the way that I do it is, let's say the harness is hanging right here. I'd walk over to where the harness is and say, Dolly, Dolly, sit. Yes. Then I would reach for the harness. I'm not going to touch it. I'm just going to reach, say, and then if Dolly, there we go. So I say sit. She sits. I reach for it. I pull my hand back and I say yes, and I give her a treat. And then I reach for it again. I'm not even touching the thing at this point. And eventually I get to the point where I can touch it, and then I give her a treat, but she has to stay in a sit the whole time. And eventually I pick it up, put it right back, and then say yes and give her the treat. So what I'm doing is basically helping her practice. So this is, I need to have some control. I come over, I sit down, my guardian goes through reaching for the harness 100 times, and eventually it goes on. But this is done so frequently and without going for a walk that I no longer associate it for a walk. Now, we're gonna have to go a little bit quickly because we have a dog coming up behind us, which is fine. All right, so what I'm gonna have Peluche do is I'm gonna have you walk, see where that tree is? The one right here? I'm gonna have you walk on the sidewalk towards us. As soon as you get to that point, I'm gonna have you turn around and walk away. Sit. So what I'm doing, this is called the engage, disengage game. Let's do that again. Sit. Peluche, go ahead and walk towards that tree. And he doesn't want to walk. That's okay. And he can just walk, how about walking back and forth this way? On the grass may help him. So what I'm doing is watching, there's a dog behind me, coming up behind the camera, we got a little bit of time, it's okay. So what I'm doing is, I'm watching her, she sees Peluche, and then she's getting a treat. Sit. Now I use the sit as an indicator. Is the dog feel comfortable enough to sit? So when she looks at him, she's clicking and offering a treat. Now she's a little bit too aroused for this one. Sit. Sit. There we go. All right. If you want to, can you go to the white car bumper and just do the same thing you just did for a walk from the white car bumper to the sidewalk, just this way? Okay. Perfect. So she's able to sit now, which is an indication she feels a little bit more confident, but he was so close she was having difficulty disengaging. So now what I'm going to do, put one down here. There you go. There we go. So now what is she doing? She's looking at him and she's looking away. And I'm clicking when she looks away. Now the first stage for this is where we would want to have her, we would want to click for her looking at Peluche. All right, we're going to let you and Peluche go do your thing. Thank you so much for your help.
Thank you.
Keep on. All right, so what we're going to do is when you're on a walk, you're going to recruit somebody that can help you. Now you saw when when Peluche was a little bit closer, she couldn't stop looking at him. So now, sit. Yeah, I know that you're all sorts of sounds. So what you want to do basically, and this is not the best demonstration of it, but basically, because again, the environment, she's worked up, she's excited. We don't have a lot of space. But what you want to do is basically find an environment where you're going to maybe a park where there's a nice path, and a lot of people are walking or jogging their dogs there, but you have a lot of grassy area. So what I do is I position myself so the dog and I are looking in the direction of where the path is, and as soon as there's another dog that's coming, we'll use this one. Because of the light and sunlight, we won't be able to do it. But basically, every time she looks at this dog, which is still so far away that she probably can't really see it, but as soon as she sees the dog, and there's actually another one across the street, so we'll see how she does for this one. Now, this is actually a little bit better because there's a little bit of a gap. There's a car, and there's only a little bit of area where she's going to be able to see it. So she hasn't seen the dog yet. There she goes. She just saw it. Now this is a little bit what I talked about earlier about setting your dog up for success. And I'm not set up for success because I got my treats in my wrong hand. There we go. So she's a little bit too close, so I'm going to move her a little further away. So what I'm doing at this stage, she looks at the other dog, I'm clicking to let her know that's what I liked, and then she gets a treat. So right now when she sees another dog, she often barks at them. That makes the other dog go away. Well, and that accomplishes what she wants, but it's the behavior that we don't want. So now she sees another dog, she barks, and it goes away, so she thinks her barking made that dog go away, which makes her more likely to want to bark again. So now I'm going to have you stay right there, but we have a dog coming up behind, so I'm managing the situation for her. So instead of her having to deal with this dog, I'm using the car here where she can't see the other dog because I'm using the car. And this is LA, there's going to be dogs all over the place. So, but we have cars all over the place as well. So now I can come over here. So now this is more management. She can't see that the other dog that's right over there that you guys can see because I'm managing the situation for her. Now there is another dog across the street. So this is kind of a very stimulating situation for her. Sit. Now when the gentleman across the street is being very nice and responsible, picking up his dog's poop, please continue doing that so we don't end up with other places like Culver City where you can't take your dog. But basically, so as soon as she sees this dog, and the dog is about there, so she looks at it, I click to let her know that's what I want, and then I gave her a treat. Now, that dog started to run. And as soon as that dog, she could see the dog, but as soon as it started to run, she got aroused. And this is a good illustration, is that when we're doing this sort of exercise, the other dog's behavior and distance is gonna be really important. Now, we have another dog coming up. We'll do the same thing. So I have treats ready to go. Like a little Chihuahua mix. There we go. All right, now right here, when that dog got super close, that's when she started getting reactive. So that's why I mentioned earlier, if we could find a park where there's a nice grassy area, so we see a dog that's coming by, we see a dog that's coming by that's pretty casual, we can be at a certain distance. But if you see the dog starts running, come here, sweetie, Dolly, come here. Then we move a little bit further away. So we're managing the distance for her. In order for this exercise to work, she can't react. She can do a little bit of, but we don't want her barking and lunging, because what she's doing is practicing barking and lunging. What we want to do is we want to create a situation where there's enough distance where she does not feel threatened, but not that it's so far away that she doesn't care about the other dog. And when she sees the other dog, I click, and that gets her to turn away and take the treat. Now, right now, we've been doing this this is at the end of a session that we've been doing, so she's a little bit overly tired. So this is something where we get her a little bit of exercise, but not too much. But if you can find that area where you're gonna have people, and this is where it helps if you have a friend that comes by with the dog. So you can have your friend across the street say, okay, stay behind the car, and you're talking with your earbuds. Okay, so I'm gonna have you pop up for a sec. She sees the other dog, click, you give her the treat, and then as soon as you click, you have your friend move the dog away. So she comes out, she sees the other dog, she looks at it, she clicks, and let's say you're standing over here. So I'm the dog, I look, I see the person, you click for me looking, I turn here to get the treat. When I turn and look back, the dog has disappeared. So what we're teaching her is looking at other dogs means that you're going to get a treat. And then when you look back, the dog is gone. And then I can tell my friend, okay, let's move out again. And so we can do this 5, 10, 15 times. And if she feels pretty comfortable, she'll take a treat, she'll sit. Then I can take 1 or 2 steps closer. Dolly, sit. Now sitting is a little bit of a problem because when she's sitting, she's not moving around. It also makes her static so that the other thing can get closer to her. So a nice situation would be to do like some parallel walking. So where you are here, maybe where the camera is another dog, and we're walking, and we both walk in the same direction and the same, neither one of us in front or behind and moving that direction, but we have enough distance where she's not staring at, she can look at, but she's not lunging at the other dog. And then we gradually get her closer and closer. So right here, she sees this gentleman, and she's aware of the gentleman, but she's more on looking, I think, at this point for dogs. And so she's more reactive for dogs than people, correct?
Yes.
So
yeah.
The idea for this is we want to just start giving her, I call this click for looks. So now I look at the thing that used to give me, that I used to bark at because I didn't like it, and it made it go away. Now when I look at it, you click to let me know that you like me looking at it, and I get a treat. After a while, what she'll do is what she was doing earlier, is she'll look at the dog and she'll look away. Then you're going to click for looking away from the other dog. So first you're clicking when she looks at the other dog. That causes her to look away to get the treat. But eventually she sees the other dog and automatically looks at you to get that treat. Now, instead of barking at other dogs, she's looking away from them. We're conditioning her and training her what we want her to do. Dolly, sit. Well, this is my buddy Dolly, and these are some tips you can use if you have a dog that's reactive to other dogs on walks.